I won't say we slept on time. We actually slept late because of the fear of the robbers. But then again, at exactly 1 a.m., we started to hear gunshots. And these gunshots were very, very loud that felt as though they were being shot inside the rooms. Now we could not sleep again, and it was no longer funny. The next thing we did, because we didn't want them to meet us in the room, so the next morning, everyone was scared. There was fear lurking everywhere. All the community members, the people living in the community, they were scared for their lives. And you know what's funny? Our landlords in the community, I mean, people that actually own houses, they started to leave their houses behind and they were relocating. Many of them were moving to their villages. In fact, they were just trying to escape to somewhere safer. And for the first time, we realize that whatever thing that you own becomes nothing if you don't have peace of mind. So you can imagine leaving your property for tenants, and you didn't really care about rent anymore. So that was the situation back then. So the whole evenings after that particular day was scary for everyone in the community. As a matter of fact, once it's 5 p.m., everyone began to get scared. So it was a very, very terrible period in our lives. So the night of the next day, the story continues. I won't say we slept on time. We actually slept late because of the fear of the robbers. But then again, at exactly 1 a.m., we started to hear gunshots. And these gunshots were very, very loud that felt as though they were being shot inside the rooms. Now we could not sleep again, and it was no longer funny. The next thing we did, because we didn't want them to meet us in the room, the fear and agony was so much so that you wouldn't want them to meet you in your room. So what we did next, we all came outside, except that this time around we had vigilantes in the community. Most of the members in the community have gathered together to form vigilante groups, including my own parents, especially my dad. So all of us were together with other tenants in one place. Our apartments that used to be our safe abode was no longer one. Now, the vigilantes were all over the place, scouting and making sure that the community was peaceful, and then they all hid in very, very hidden places. But something happened. Something terrible happened. While they were there, these robbers had other plans. They had gone after one of the warlords, or let me say, one of the most powerful men in the community back then, and they succeeded in killing him. It was a very, very brutal situation, not something I'd like to explain or talk about on this video, because he was left lifeless. And by morning, that threw the entire community into pain and sorrow, because this man was a very powerful man, he was a well-respected man, and he did a lot for the community. Now, after that, the robbers didn't stop, even though that very night they didn't really succeed because of the efforts of the vigilante groups, but they succeeded in killing 1 or 2 people. And of course, none of the robbers were killed because they fled. But it didn't stop there, because they kept on going to other places and they were writing notices as always. But our lives never remained the same between this time. This was 2001 and 2003. As much as our landlords in the community have fled, we tenants also, we decided to leave. The safest places back then were churches, mosques, hospitals. Those were the safest places. So you can imagine leaving all your properties, leaving everything behind, only to hide yourself in the religious centers, churches, mosques, and hospitals. I could remember moving into a friend's apartment, because we felt that place was safer. Iron doors, iron roofs, everything was iron. And I could remember the man was a major general, so he had guns. So we felt we were safe. And then a lot of things like that. My mom was in the hospital for weeks because of fear of these people. This went on for a very long time. As a matter of fact, it went on for 3 good years. 3 years was a long time. So this was the situation back then in this community. And everyone who lived in that community will always remember this time. That is the real story. Between 2001 and 2003, if you ever lived in this community, you know that it's an experience you don't want to have anymore. If you've watched to this point, please do well to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. And until next time, when I come your way, please always be kind to people. This is That Real Story. Peace out.